Because we all have different words. Can we put it on a paper bag or something? You're right. And the text is for all. I mean, really, it's all genders.
The guy breaks everything. Yeah. Always play me in front of
It's all horizontal. And that's going to break up that concept. And as leaders, we have to be intentional about creating that quality and that equity space. That's going to bring up trust and then inclusive environment for all voices. So I appreciate your leadership. So that leads us, I think we got no more minutes left, to my last question. So that is, as business leaders and cyber organizations educate women, how can we, I should go back on my question, I should read my question before I just start diving right in, right? So how could business leaders and cybersecurity organizations educate women early about cybersecurity? What do you think? What kind of efforts? Like, we're always promoting, let's be what others can see. Women in cybersecurity really have to put themselves out there and continue with the education to bring that awareness up. But what other areas can we focus on?
I've got one I'll throw out there. I want to start going to more business schools and business courses. Not only, at an academic level, but even, junior high, high school level. Let's not go to people and say, hey, I want to get you in STEM. Like, that's awesome. We need to do that. I want to go into the other courses. I want to go into the communications course and go, all right, people, we're going to talk about communicating risk to technicians. Let's start going to these other areas that represent the skill that we need, and not only the end need to focus on getting people in STEM, but it doesn't have to be a come into STEM and then you can be in cyber. No, let's go to all of those places.
That is really amazing. It's like bridging the gap there, right there. That's outstanding.
I think it's also important to highlight stories of people who've done that successfully. And it's important to not forget where you came from and what decisions were going through your head when you charted your path, right? So I had somebody come up to me and say, hey, we think you can figure out cybersecurity. And that's how I got into cybersecurity. It is amazing what words of encouragement can do to change somebody's charted path, right? So those words of encouragement and that representation in those stories, that's important.
That's how I got into cybersecurity too. So one of the things I'll share is something that we're doing at the firm. I think it's amazing if you can do something a bit hands-on with younger women as well, because I think cybersecurity can be a bit hard to explain. My kids had someone come into their school Friday before I left for San Francisco and explain cybersecurity to them. They're 10, so in all the 10 years they had no idea what I did for a living until all of a sudden we came in and showed it to them. And one of the things we want to do is in Canada, and I'm sure you guys have this in the US as well, kids do volunteer hours, kind of grade 7 through high school, and bringing them into some of our public-private innovation projects that we're doing, actually having them do some hands-on work with us.
Yeah. Yes. But I also think it's important to meet them where they are. So those middle school kids, elementary school kids, right, coming from diverse socioeconomic levels too, so not everyone has access to the right programs or yours, but people are on social media, right? So can we get to someone on social media? Hey, let's kind of understand what that platform does, right? There's one particular platform that says it deletes things after 24 hours, right? That's people are putting stuff on it, like a story or whatever, and it doesn't actually get deleted, right? Like, shock here, it doesn't. But so can we, not lure, but can we, yes, or bring awareness even that, like, cybersecurity is in our daily lives, whether we think of it or not. And to kind of recap what others have said, right? To not use fancy words or high-level kind of phrases and bring it down like, no, this is what multi-factor authentication means. Why do I need it to have it on my Facebook or my Instagram or any other social platform? So coming to them at their level, wherever, whether it's business students, whether it's elementary school kids, I think that's where more of the effort is needed. We often bring people into our environment and be like, oh, look at the cool things that we do as companies, enterprises, nonprofits. But can we reach out to them and say, hey, let's have that one-on-one and see why don't you think cybersecurity, like what is about cybersecurity?
Yeah, so it's like reversing the conversation, finding out what they're involved in, and then using the conversation how cybersecurity is already a part of that and how they're already doing it. I've observed some of my children and my children's friends do things, and I'm like, you should go into cybersecurity because you did just that right there. And that's the type of person you are. They think the cybersecurity is just unachievable. They think it's so not attainable to them. And then here we have it, they're practicing the practices of the So with that, I think we're at time, and I just want to thank everyone. I think some really key takeaway here is intentional action on allies really reaching out and giving that positive reinforcement that brought you to. It's taking risks in your hiring practices, and just continue just to